This show is powered by BL3P, the Lightning-enabled European Bitcoin exchange.
Connect the build.
Avi Burra, Bitcoiner, podcaster, author, and Nostr Evangelist.
Porcupine Tree is a British progressive rock band founded by musician Stephen Wilson in 1987. The band's music spans multiple genres, including psychedelic rock, progressive rock, and progressive metal. With so many iconic tracks, it can be tough to pick a favorite. Is Lazarus your all-time favorite Porcupine Tree song?
No.
UEFA Euro 2024 is said to be one of the most anticipated football tournaments. Predicting the winner of the Euros is a popular activity amongst football fans. Do you think the Netherlands will win the trophy?
No.
Ribeye steak and lamb kebab are both known for their rich flavors and are favorites among meat lovers. Do you prefer ribeye steak over lamb kebab?
Yes.
We were told you're a wine lover and in particular red wine, but have you ever found a white wine or rosé that rivals your favorite red?
No.
Sir Terry Pratchett was a highly influential British author best known for his Discworld series. Terry Pratchett authored over 40 novels in the series, known for their satirical and humorous take on fantasy. Have you read more than half of the Discworld series?
Yes.
You were one of our guests at the Connect the World Nostradam meetup last year at Bitcoin Amsterdam at the favorite Bry barbecue place. Can we welcome you back for this year's event?
Probably no.
Your favorite holiday destination is Curacao. Curacao is renowned for its beautiful beaches. Do you have a favorite beach on the island that you consider a must visit?
Yes.
Some people collect stamps, others collect coins. Some people collect digital coins. Do you have a dedicated closet just for your hat collection?
No.
David Lynch is an American filmmaker, painter, musician, and actor, widely recognized for his distinctive, surrealist style and unconventional narrative techniques. Lynch's movies are often known for their rewatch value, revealing new details upon multiple viewings. And have you watched Lost Highway more than 5 times?
Yes.
Are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
No.
Welcome to the Connect the World Weekly Podcast. I'm Edward.
And I'm Steph. We are ready to take you with us into the beautiful world of the Lightning Network.
Enjoy the ride. This is episode 118 of Connect the World, and this show is made possible by our friends from BL3P and BRINGIN. Thank you guys for helping us out with our mission to connect the world with Bitcoin through the Lightning Network. And if you also want to help out with our mission, then head over to our website, connecttheworld.live, or you can subscribe at our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions at all, you can always ask us anything in our Telegram groups.
Conectează lumea.
Welcome, Avi. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, mate. Of course. And I think I will. Please excuse me. I will have to change my clothes because if the Netherlands won't win the Euros, then why should I wear this shirt, right? I mean, are you that convinced, Avi? Who will win it? Spain? You will say Spain, right?
France?
Yeah, I probably Spain. They're looking the strongest, but I wouldn't count France out because they have a really tight defense. I mean, they're playing incredibly boring football, but it's effective.
Yeah, but the thing that what's crazy that they reached the half finals without scoring a goal from like an attack, right? They only scored. It was like 2 own goals from the opposite team and 2 penalties scored by Mbappé.
Just one.
They didn't
one penalty.
Yeah. Oh, was it one? Oh, just one penalty. Yeah, but they didn't score through an attack or something, right? So and they
do you call it luck, or is it just?
I mean, it's crazy, and I've never witnessed it before, right? I mean, they reached the semifinals. I mean, it's not that. It's crazy. I mean, I've never witnessed it before, right? So, and to be honest, I'm with you, Avi. They have a really great squad, and I mean, just Mbappé can win the Euros with 10 different players because of his skill. But they're not playing the nicest football, to be honest.
It needs to be fun to watch, also, right?
Yeah.
So
and that's what I missed. And to be honest, the only squad that I really loved to see playing was Spain up until now, and even not the Netherlands, because we played some horrible matches and we had so much luck being third in the table, and then through a really nice and easy route into the semifinals. So
I think the Dutchies want to fight back. So if they're 1-0 0 again, then perhaps they're going to make some nice football to watch, right?
That's certainly good players.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we have, but to be and I don't know. We have I think we have the best defense of the tournament. We have
a great keeper,
midfield, a great keeper. That's for sure.
Verbrugge is great.
Probably the best keeper also, but our attack isn't that great, to be honest. So if you want to win, you have to score goals, right?
Well, if they're not going to be there near the goal of the opposite party, then it's not going to work. But if they're there a lot, because they had a lot of ball percentage, right?
Yeah, possession. Yeah,
possession. Yeah.
But do you think we will reach the finals, Avi? Are we going to beat England?
I have a feeling England's going to win this one in extra time. It just looks like it.
Oh no! That will be horrible. Yeah.
They're number 5 of the world, and we're number 7, right, Steph? That's what I've read. I don't know.
But they have the most expensive squad of the whole tournament. So if you
then money can buy anything.
Yeah, they also play horrible. They also play horrible football. That's just not because we are going to face them, but they played horrible football, right, Avi? I mean, you're a soccer lover, right? I mean, yeah.
The only player I like on that team is Jude Bellingham. He's capable of some amazing stuff, but everyone else, Saka's okay, but I mean, but together they just, you're right. It's incredibly boring football.
Yeah, they don't. They do. I mean, every player apart is great, but they don't have the dynamics doesn't. It just
then
not right.
I hope they won't win because
sure we don't. We're from the Netherlands. Come on, Eddie.
No, of course, but
by the way, you doubled your chance because you're half Spanish, so you have double the chance to reach the finals, my friend.
For me, it's no problem. No, that's right. I just change shirts then.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, and Avi, we asked you because you were one of our guests at the Nostr meetup last year. And you said that you probably not will be attending in Amsterdam. That's a pity, man, because last year it was fun, right? I think it was one of the very first unofficial Nostr events or Nostr meetups or how you want to call it. We were going to miss you.
After Nostrika, the first conference.
Yeah, there was not. I mean, there've been a few. Actually, so last year in Prague, I organized a Nostr event, called it the Bohemian Nostrich Meetup. But look, it's one of the few events like that. And I had a fantastic time at Nostrdam. Even the year before that, you had a lightning meetup in Brai, and that was fantastic too. Yeah. It's a long. I live in New York. It's a long flight. So it's some of this conference travel is getting a bit exhausting.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it's a long flight for just a great barbecue evening, right?
Yeah, that's because that's if I did fly to Amsterdam, it would be just for Bry. So yes.
Hey, talking about traveling, also, you said you said yes at the question about Curacao. What is your favorite beach there? There's so many.
There's so many, but we were staying. Oh no, this is an easy one actually. Klein Curacao. Klein Curacao.
Yes,
it's the most magical Klein beach ever. The color of the water, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah.
I've been there once, and I was there for only 9 days, but it was great for me that it only lasted for 9 days, because otherwise I think Curacao would kill me, because it was like it was totally
hot?
Different, man. No, it was party, man. I mean,
yeah. Another part of state.
If you want to if you want me to tell some stories, I would need like 1.5 to 2 hours. So please don't. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy. The island itself, it's crazy. It's only it's party 24/7 and in all different places. So yeah, it's crazy, man.
And it's also good for families too. I was there with my wife and son, and obviously was not in party mode. Although no. Trust me.
That's also possible.
That is very much possible. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah, I was a bit younger now. I have also 2 kids, so maybe I have to retry again, and then just the vacation lazy mode. Let's see if I can also find that mode there. But it's a great island. It's a really great island
for sure.
Hey Avi, we invited you to talk. The thing is, you are such on the spectrum. You have all kinds of subjects we can talk to you about. So that makes it very hard for us to just pick the right subjects to talk about. So we have one hell of a job to do, Edward. But maybe it's the one thing that I would, because we are not in the official 21 minutes part yet. I wanted to talk about your book now. Because you wrote a book, 21. Is it called
24?
24.
It's 24. It's 21 is the only number I can recall, obviously, as a Bitcoiner. 24 is called. But maybe you can share your story about the book, why you wrote it, and what is it about?
Yeah. So why did I write the book? I had a story to tell. So actually, let me take a step back, right? I'm not really an author. I'm not an arts guy, at least from my background. I'm actually an engineer, electrical engineer and a financial engineer. So pretty well suited from an educational background to get into Bitcoin, right? Because the financial engineering part made me understand the economics, the macro stuff. The electrical engineering allowed me to understand complex systems and protocols. So having said that, I've always had this desire to be a storyteller, and some would say a small talent as well, to tell stories. And I had this idea for a book maybe almost 20 years ago or 18 years ago for a similar type of book. Obviously, this is well before Bitcoin, about a young man learning that his father had suddenly passed away, and then once his father passes away, he through some magical events learns a secret about him, and as he's learning more and more about his father's secret, this whole world of learning opens up to him, right? So I had this broad idea for a story, but again, just life and fiat mining and everything else was in the way. And then eventually I reached a stage where I felt like I was bursting to tell the story. I'd been, the COVID lockdowns had happened. I'd locked myself down with family for 2 years, from 2020 to 2022, because not because I was scared of the virus or of whatever, right? But I was scared of what the world around me was becoming. It just felt like this really ugly place, and there's so much anger, and you couldn't trust even close friends. You never knew if they would, complain about you that you were not following the rules, right? So I just cut all of that out and was shut down for 2 years. And in that time, I was just listening to a lot of podcasts, listening and reading a lot of Bitcoin books and just absorbing. And then sometime in 2022, I said, okay, now I'm ready. I'm ready to step out. I've been absorbing enough, and now it's time to create. So I took this idea, the original idea I had for the book, and I recast it into the Bitcoin world. The book's called 24. Yeah. It's written in 24 chapters. It's a young man. The protagonist is a young man who's, he works at a Web3 company. So he's kind of heard about Bitcoin, but he's never really paid that much attention to it, right? He's a computer scientist. He's almost 24 years old, right? So the number 24 recurs a lot through the book. He's almost 24. He turns 24 in the last chapter. And, he hasn't really, about Bitcoin, he's read the white paper once, but he doesn't understand it. And he's more focused on this Web3 crypto stuff. And then his father suddenly passes away and he leaves him a secret. And okay, it's a surrealist book, right? So from a family friend, he learns this meditation technique where he can access his memories from the past. And in one of those memories, he sees his father saying there are 24 words. You need to find them. So in 24 chapters, it's a story about how he finds one of those words. And in the process, he learns more about his father, because as far as he knew, his father worked at a boring reinsurance company, right? Was a middle manager, like a really regular family guy. But he had this other side, this dark side to him that's revealed to him through this magical pursuit of the secret. And then in the process, he becomes a Bitcoin maximalist.
Okay.
That's great.
And you, but because that's what I read, that you incorporated a gamified element in your book. Of course, the 24 is a hidden seed phrase. I looked into the mempool, of course, but it is empty, right? No. So somebody found it.
Yes. So I released the book in November of last year, of 2023. Yeah. And I put in 10 million sats of my own, which, by the way, at that time, and when I had acquired those 10 million sats, they were a lot less than they are right now, right? I wouldn't be putting 10 million sats in a bounty right now. So obviously, first of all, 24 chapters, 24 words. So there's a seed phrase there, right? But just in a different order, not the same order as the chapters in the book. And I put 10 million sats in there. And then as more people were buying my book, I was taking a percentage of the profits and adding it to the bounty. And the bounty went up to 17 million sats. Yeah, and then sometime in early April, someone was able to crack it, because I gave clues in each of the chapters to the correct order of those 24 words.
That's crazy, man. That's cool. That's
a really fun aspect.
It's the trick on Bitcoin. Obviously, it's rising in price. So it could be even way more than it's now, right?
I shouldn't have made it so easy. Next time I'll make it way harder, so that even if I put in like 1 million sats, it'll become $1 million maybe one day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Then it takes a lot of more time, and then
awesome. You can keep that other 9 million sets to your own, right? So
exactly.
Hey, cool, man. Yeah, great story. Awesome. And we also want to talk about Nostr and Bitcoin in general with you. So if you're ready, we would really love to enter the 21 minutes.
Let's do it.
The 21 minutes is brought to you by BRINGIN, the app to reliably sell and spend Bitcoin from any wallet. Well, as long as we were talking about the book, of course, then perhaps because you're such a storyteller, can you discuss the importance of storytelling in a Bitcoin community and how it has helped in driving adoption so far? Because I've heard you talk about Alice and Bob, Alice being intellectual and Bob being emotional. And the different way to drive adoption by storytelling made me very curious about your take on it. So perhaps you can elaborate a bit.
Yeah. So that was a talk I gave at BitBlock Boom about the different ways of driving adoption, right? So if you take a step back, right, as Bitcoiners, in my view, the only way our peaceful revolution is going to be successful is if a vast majority of the world is using Bitcoin, right? If otherwise, it's just a bunch of us. We had some good steak at conferences and had got maybe a little too much wine or beer or whatever it is. And we had a good time for a few years, but that's about it. But I think if we really want this to be successful, a vast majority of the world has to be using it. So that's basically adoption, right? So how do you drive adoption? I mean, there are a few ways, and the most common way is you've been seeing until now is sort of people not lecturing, but maybe teaching about intellectual concepts like Austrian economics, like distributed systems, like censorship resistance, right? Making an appeal to people's intellect. And it's been great. Like, that's how I got it. But I'm an engineer, right? So that resonated with me. Yeah. And a lot of other people technical people, that resonates with, right? It brings them in. But I think if you're looking to scale to a much wider audience, right? I don't know how far the intellectual part will go in fully bringing them in. Maybe, it'll help clarify a few things. But so if you take a leaf from any major movement, and a great example of this is, just look at organized religion, right? How do they, whichever the religion it might be, how do they spread the word of God? It's like through stories, through mythology. It's to create this emotional connection with people through metaphor, through song, and so on, and bring them in. So not suggesting Bitcoin is a religion by any means, right? But just it's a powerful, big idea, and they best propagate through storytelling, right? I just look at that historical background for that. So I feel there's not enough of that in Bitcoin. In fact, there's very little of that in Bitcoin, right? It's mostly been focused on the intellectual side. So we need a focus on the emotional side, and I think that's where storytelling is a big piece of it, right? That's why one of the main reasons why I wrote the book, right? It's also to drive adoption, but also there's music, right? There's food. We are creating a broader culture, right? Culture is this almost amorphous concept that consists of stories, of songs, of film, right? Art, and so on. So if we create this compelling culture, then we bring people in. Right? People say, hey, I want to be part of that. Look at those folks. They're so happy. They're creating beautiful things. I want to be part of that. As opposed to maybe going and lecturing them and saying, hey, you know what? You're a slave to the fiat. You're going to die, or right. But if you choose this, you'll be better off. I think it's just a different approach.
It's a positive way also. There's also someone who's making and just published a cooking book with all Bitcoin and Satoshi and fun things. I think the world is in need of another way of telling the story, and so it's interesting. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and I was also thinking, because now we also have Nostr now, talking about expressing yourself. It's important, but it's also important to do this in a censorship resistance, a way of censorship resistance, obviously, to just keep people away who are going to censor you. At BTC Prague, you were in a panel discussion about Nostr for censorship resistance. Can you elaborate on how Nostr achieves censorship resistance at a technical level, particularly through its use of a public key cryptography and decentralized relays? Because I can imagine that, talking about people who are not really into the Nostr stuff, also think, I'm just using WhatsApp and it's end-to-end encrypted, so I'm also safe there, right? So can you maybe dive a bit in that?
Yeah, so if you look at the traditional communications networks or applications that exist today, right? You mentioned WhatsApp. There's obviously Twitter, more for social media, Twitter, Facebook for social media, even like Signal, others like that too, right?
Yeah.
In that, the user has an identity, right? Meaning it's what they use to log into the application, and then that they're in their account, and then they can communicate using that. That identity lives in the application layer, right? Meaning Signal owns your identity on Signal. Twitter owns your identity on Twitter, and Facebook, and so on and so forth, right? So your identity is at the application layer, which means that there is a company that's running that application, right? And they can take your identity and kill it if they want to, right? If they don't like what you're saying. So the genius of Nostr is that instead of the identity living at the application layer, it now lives at the protocol layer, right? And the protocol is decentralized because it's, you mentioned relays, right? Relays are essentially dumb computers spread over the world. All they do is they get an event. An event can be a note, like a tweet. It could be a DM, whatever it is, right? They check the relay just checks if it conforms to the protocol standards. If yes, it just sends it to wherever it's supposed to go, right? And if one relay blocks you, well, there are 1,000 others. Use
another one. Yeah.
Just use another one, right? So it's a decentralized protocol because of the relay infrastructure, and your identity, this public-private key pair, lives at that protocol level, right? Which means that you might be using an application. They're known as clients in the Nostr world, right? Like you might have heard of Damus or Primal for iPhone, Amethyst for Android, few others. Even there's this one called Wavelake, which is like a Spotify replacement, right? It's for musicians to put up their songs. All of these applications, they talk to the protocol, but they don't own your identity. The identity is you own it because you spun up that key pair at the protocol level. So they can't block you, right? So that's the magic of it. And here's the other part, right? It's not just your identity that allows you to sign events, right? Which basically means send tweets or the equivalent of tweets or songs if you're doing it on Wavelake. It's also your social graph, your follower list, right? Who you're following, and other metadata like your Lightning wallet address and things like that, your bio. All of that is tied to this identity at the protocol level, and you completely own it. So no one can deplatform you.
Yeah, that's a big difference. And I have here a question that I thought, interoperability is very important, of course, also between Nostr clients. And if you think about resisting censorship, the protocol does this by design, right? Because it is interoperable because you just use your keys. So that perception, I think, is very difficult for a lot of people that aren't accustomed to it, because you gave all your information to that one company, and now it's just yours, and you just use it on whatever client, right? How? Yeah, Avi.
No, just imagine, right? Like you create a Twitter account. But imagine if you told people, if you create an account, you can use it for Twitter, the same account. You can use it for Spotify. You can use it for YouTube. All your followers go with you, right? That's all the kind of the magic here. Yeah.
It is. And how does Nostr contribute to the broader goal of privacy in the Bitcoin ecosystem? And what unique features make it particularly suitable for this purpose?
I think from a privacy standpoint, there's nothing out of the box, right? That's makes Nostr more private than anything else, right? In fact, if it's very public. If you're using public relays, all of your information is being broadcast to these public relays. Now, what it does allow you to do is control your identity. So you could choose to be anonymous and just use that to communicate with the world. Now, there are people working on direct messages, bringing more privacy to those. So you can add things on that create more privacy. But I would say, as the protocol itself, I mean, it is an open, decentralized system, right? So it's open by design.
Yeah. In your podcast, Pleb Chain Radio focuses on the intersection of Nostr and Bitcoin. And in the latest episode, you and Quiet Warrior talked to cyberpunk Max Hillebrand about privacy, Wasabi, and a lot more. And Max highlighted the potential of Nostr to create a web of trust through social interactions. How do you see this evolving, and what impact could it have on other use cases like commerce or secure communications?
Yeah, so the web of trust is a really key concept here, right? The web of trust is, the subset of your social graph that whose recommendations on different things you trust more than others. I'm giving a very loose definition here, but that's essentially what it is, right? Like you've been following people who've built up their online reputations either through posting things that you find interesting, intellectually stimulating, or just funny, right? So you're like, you know what, I like these guys, and they're kind of part of that set of your social graph, right? Now that can, because Nostr is, all of this is at the protocol level, right? And there's interoperability. Edward, you talked about interoperability earlier, right? It's when you have a Nostr account, when you spin up that key pair, you automatically have a Damus account, you automatically have a Primal account, you automatically have a Wavelake account, so on and so forth. So it's like, right, you don't have to create separate accounts for all of these. And same goes with Web of Trust, right? So you can transpose, so for example, Max Hillebrand in our show was talking about Web of Trust for CoinJoin coordinators, right? Now, as you know, Wasabi's shutting down. Wasabi. Yeah. They're shutting down the ZK Snacks coordinator. That was the main one that folks were using. Now, you have others who have popped up, right, who are trying to coordinate these coin joins. The question is, how do you trust these people, right? How do you know that there are two issues. One is liquidity itself, right? You need enough people on a coordinator to make it worthwhile to do the coin join. But the other is, how do you know who this person is? And you can, if these events are coordinated on Nostr, you can use that Web of Trust to find the right coordinator. So that was the example we were talking about on the show. But the same thing applies to travel, right? There's BTC Map, right? It's I'm sure you've heard about it. Nathan Day's app for finding Bitcoin merchants. I mean, they're converting to Nostr now, right? They're integrating far more tightly with Nostr. You can use the Nostr Web of Trust to know if certain merchants accept Bitcoin. Maybe there can be a rating system on top of it. And you could just use your subset. You don't have to trust a global rating system. You just go with your subset, right? So that's one example. Fountain is integrating Nostr. They've just released their beta version that's Nostr integrated. Again, it just inherits all of your Nostr followers, your Web of Trust, and you can find good podcast recommendations that way. Wavelake with music, same thing.
Yeah. And well, you emphasizes a lot of different Nostr apps already. What are some of the most exciting applications that you've seen built now, and services perhaps on Nostr that demonstrate its potential beyond social media? Yeah, so like Wavelake, of course, that's one.
Yeah, Wavelake is a great example, right? There's so many examples of artists who spend years, 5-10 years on Spotify, and they've built up a huge following. They have millions of streams, and they make next to nothing, right? It's because Spotify takes everything. And then the couple of examples within folks like that who've made the jump to Wavelake, and they just upload their songs and they get zapped if someone likes their song. So the people who've made over 1 million sats on songs. So that's a great use case. I think Wavelake. Another really interesting one. I probably shouldn't name the team because it's not live yet, but there is a football team that might be looking into Zap.stream integration. Are you familiar with Zap.stream?
Yeah.
It's like a streaming service like Twitch, right? It's a Nostr client.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They might start streaming their football. I mean, there's some rights things that they have to work through, TV rights and so on. But can you imagine a football game being streamed on Nostr. People watching zapping, as they could even put a fee to, like you can say, to unlock the stream, you need 1,000 sats. So magic, right? It's incredible.
But is the professional football team or?
You know what? Let me not. I don't want to give too much away.
But hypothetically, is it this could also drive adoption for people who aren't into Bitcoin, right? So they need to go to zap.stream to watch it and then start using what they need to use maybe some form of gamification, right? Because you need to learn something. Exactly. That's huge potential.
For example, if the team, I don't know if they're planning to do this, they probably won't, but it's an interesting experiment. If they say, we're streaming exclusively our live games on zap.stream, so all of their followers who are not Bitcoiners say, wait, what is this? What is an NPub? What is a Lightning wallet? I need to figure all of this stuff out.
Is it ready for that kind of exposure? Do you think? Because of course the NPub and NSEC is still a little bit difficult and perhaps dangerous because it's your identity. Can people handle that? Newbies.
Well, I guess we'll just have to find out, right?
It's a big experiment.
The short answer to your question is it's probably not ready, but I would say bring it on anyway.
But you know what might be a great feature is when you want to have a player exchange, like when a player is playing very bad, you just have to to pay sets, right? Just pay like 100k, 200k, 500k just to get another player on the field. That would be a great gamification of.
So making the decisions,
let the people decide, right? No. But all jokes aside, because this is about streaming video, but in one of your talks you also mentioned the importance of decentralized video storage, which is a different kind of thing, obviously. What are the current limitations and how do you envision this technology evolving? Because I think, that's if you talk about high quality 4K, maybe 8K in the future video, then it really uses a lot of storage space, obviously.
Yeah. So this is the issue, and I don't have a great answer to this stuff, but if you think about like simple text-based notes, right, like tweet equivalents, that's easy to store on relays. It's nothing, right? A few bytes, whatever, right? And you can store it on 1,000 relays, and you get your full censorship resistance. If you're talking about 4K video, like if you want to build a YouTube replacement, how are you going to put it on? First of all, what is the incentive for a relay operator to store like 5-6 gigabyte videos, right? I mean, when they're paying, I don't know, either they're running it at home, in which case they have to buy more server space, or they're running it in the cloud, AWS, so they have to pay Amazon more for it, right? So there's very little incentive. And also, I think it's wasteful to have that level of redundancy for such large files. For text, it makes sense, right? That's how you get the censorship resistance. But for video, it's a lot of redundancy for such a large file. So that is a concern. And so because there is a early stage Nostr client called flare.pub, which is meant to be a YouTube replacement. But the developer is basically hosting the videos, presumably in his basement, right? So if there is, let's say, some video that the government doesn't like, he can get a knock on the door, and where's your censorship there?
Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah, and it's also, and I'm now thinking about maybe stuff that you don't want to have on your server, for instance. Child pornography or that kind of stuff, right? It's also very difficult to make it decentralized and censorship resistant, and also because then either way you have to censor yourself in a way, right? So it's difficult.
And if something like FIFA is having one relay with all the streaming capabilities with video storage, then of course it's just one relay. That's not censorship resistant. Yeah. So we just need time, Avi, or is there a solution?
Maybe something like torrents, right? Where you have, so different factors here, right? Something like torrents where the video is broken up into different pieces and it sits in different places and it all comes together and rendered on your client. Maybe, but that doesn't solve the moderation problem, right? Because you can put some really, really bad stuff. Someone can upload it, like saying, "Hey, I'm censorship resistant," right? I can't be censored. So how do you solve that problem? Because I certainly don't want that kind of stuff on Nostr. I think it's just going to. That's what great way of destroying the protocol.
Yeah. I hear the TikTok. Maybe. What are some of the biggest challenges and opportunities you see for Nostr in the next, let's say, 2 years?
Well, from a challenge standpoint, right, just not enough people adopt it because it's too complicated. I don't think that's going to happen. We're seeing some good UX improvements. But that is a risk that's there. And then from an opportunity standpoint, Nostr is just, we talked about the application layer and the protocol layer, right? We can re-architect the entire application layer of the internet, YouTube, Spotify, even some email replacement, whatever it is, right? That could be re-architected on Nostr.
That's the interesting aspect. Yeah. Thanks again, Avi.
Of course.
Yeah, I think, Steph, some other time, I think near future, because there are so many projects out there for Nostr. It's crazy. Thanks again.
世界をつなぐ
Yeah, we have one question left for you, Avi, and the fun thing is that you may choose yourself. You can choose between a question asked by Gerardo Linares. He's from Bitcoin Berlin in El Salvador, from Prashant, and he's from BRINGIN, or Tony Klaus, and he's from Stable Channels.
I don't have the pleasure of knowing either of them, so I wouldn't be able to predict what the question would be. But let me... I'll go with the one from El Salvador.
All right.
Yes,
so
Gerardo Linares.
Yeah, Gerardo.
Hi, this is Gerardo Linares from Bitcoin Berlin. And my question to you is, which do you think is going to be the next Bitcoin country?
I'm Argentina.
Argentina. All right.
And is it because of Milei?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you think. Okay. And then I think the same way as they do it in El Salvador, so legal tender and all the stuff.
No, I think it'll be different in Argentina. I don't think Milei is going to push it the way Bukele did. He's just going to step out of the way.
Yeah, because he's a libertarian.
Yeah. He'll say he won't make Bitcoin legal tender. He'll just remove legal tender laws, so all currencies can compete.
You can just use whatever you like.
Right.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin will win, as we know.
obviously. Nice.
Awesome, this one. Yeah.
Cool.
Conectează lumea.
Hey, Avi, where can people follow you, man? And obviously, where can people buy your book? That's maybe a great way to start. And then, your NIP or 5 and all the stuff.
Yeah, the stream froze for a second, but you can go to Amazon.com, search for Avi Burra 24. Right, my book's called 24. Just put my name and the book separated by spaces, obviously, and you'll find it right away. You can find me on Nostr by going to primal.net/Avi, AVI. That's the easiest way. And on Twitter, I'm at Avi_Burra.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks again, Avi. And for everybody else, also thanks for listening in. And of course, thanks everybody for connecting the world with us together. And if you like our content, then please support us in our mission. Visit our website, connecttheworld.live, where you can also make a donation and subscribe, like, and share our content on your favorite platform. So remember, we need you to complete our mission. So keep those notes running, sats flowing, and perhaps read a book named 24. And see you all next week on the same Lightning channel. Hasta luego, Avi.
See ya, Avi.
Thank you.